Hello everyone, Kim Victoria here, and in today's video I'm going to do some tutorial for how I made this journal, which I'm calling my Four Seasons journal because it has spring, summer, autumn, and winter as a color theme going through here. I made it with Masterboards that I was playing around with. So I want to talk to you about my Masterboard idea and how I do those, and then we'll show you how I assembled it. So if you want to watch just the flip through, the timestamp will, I'm going to show you right there in the video somewhere. And but I hope you join me and thank you for being here. And this is the page torn up composition I did on 12 by 12 square of paper. And I did the normal masterboard sort of process where I tore up paper. In this case, I did ink the edges. After it was all dry, I used rubber stamps, and then I'm doing the napkin. And I love using Yes Paste because it's very much like a glue stick that you apply with a brush, but you can go thicker. It does dry very flat. You might need to flatten a page under some weights for a little bit, but it works fantastic. I really like it for a lot of reasons. So this is a great place to use it. And my philosophy around masterboards, I watched some videos by different creators, and I just, it doesn't appeal to me to make a whole masterboard as a really complete piece of art with all the little labels and embellishments and everything, just to start cutting it up and maybe cut through some elements that I really like. So my masterboard philosophy is a little more simple. I want to start with something simple like this, where it's just a little rubber stamping, a little bit of napkin, and then I don't mind cutting it up. Maybe I can be somewhat strategic. And you'll see that in the pieces that went into the journal. But yeah, I'm a little bit more into keeping it very simple and then adding all the bells and whistles to the pieces that I cut from the masterboard. So anyway, after this dries, I cut off all the little excess and then I'm on to the next stage. So now I've made four master boards, and you can see in this where I was somewhat strategic in where I put my napkins, but there's minimal decoration. It's just the book pages and the napkins and some rubber stamping. And you'll see more detail when I go through the flip through. But when I started doing, I was saying, oh, I'll do something with four seasons. So, I've got winter and I've got fall, and I needed a green anyway. So that's what the one you just saw I put together was, the green, and I'd already kind of established how I wanted to do it. Now I'm ready to cut it up. So one of the things I found was when I wanted to use the uh, the little cutter, it didn't work. It was too much thickness. I didn't like that. So I decided I better just stick with the knife and the metal ruler. Now what I'm doing here is a thought process. I'm thinking about how do I want to divide this space up? And this is a very personal choice. It's something that, when you're doing this, you'll figure it out. So I decided I was going to do something with those leaf shapes. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with those leaf shapes. I'm thinking, do I want to make a little folded kind of thing? Do I want to make a belly band? Do I want to make more tags? Do I want to make pockets? All of those sorts of things. There's all of these fun things. I mean, there's so many options. My goodness. So anyway, this is me just thinking and going, okay, now I've got a little mirror image thing happening here with this little piece. So what I'm trying to do here is, I'm making a big pocket. Great, a big pocket. That'll be a good thing. Oh yes, I want the other one to be a belly band. Okay, this is a little tag. Make some rounded corners. That worked on some of them, but not on very many. Okay, one piece left. What shall I do? All right, well, let's cut that in half. And let's see if we can make scores. Make little folders. And well, maybe we'll do the same thing. I was looking also at the other pieces that I'd made and wondering, well, what's sort of missing here? So there's the pieces for the green. So I've got spring, summer, fall, and winter. Now that the green masterboard is done and cut out, I'm ready to assemble signatures. But rather than bore you with all of that process, here are the piles. And now, here they are in their present state. I use a lot of paper clips when I am trying to decide where I want to put things. And there's one of those significant map pages. But yeah, it's like, okay, I've got everything out. How do I want to create the variety? What am I thinking about doing with this or that? So this is one part of my thinking process. And I've got 4 signatures now, so they're in a state of being ready to remove all those paper clips to get everything up to a point where I can start making a cover. I haven't decided how the cover is going to be yet at this point, but you can see all the different elements. So the cover is going to reflect those elements. I now have the signatures assembled. So most of those paper clips are gone. But I'm thinking about a cover now. I have these. I have those, um, put everything where I think I want it, but they're not finished yet. I mean, I've got all these parts and pieces. I haven't put a topper on any of the tags. There's still a lot I want to do, but I'm at a stage where I really could use a cover. So I'm looking at, what size it is. And I have this, it's kind of springy, but it's gonna, tighten up. I do have a cereal box ready to go. It has a 2-inch, which now will be a spine. And that's it. That looks like that's gonna work fine. I don't plan on fattening it up much more. It will alligator or crocodile if I let it. But yeah, I'm not going to add too much more inside of these. I'll add a little bit, but I'm going to give it a closure, and that will solve that problem. So now the big thing here is, all right, now how am I going to treat the cover? And I realized, okay, this is about masterboarding. So I'm going to masterboard the cover. I'm going to use the same papers that I used before, and that is my plan, right? Okay, so let me make this and then I'll come back and show it to you. So here's the cover that I masterboarded. I'm really pleased with how it came out. I used the same pages from the same book, and that's where I'm getting to the story. This is where the story gets kind of interesting. This is a rubber stamp that I used in the signatures. And just a quick tip on this, I did use again the Yes Glue for pasting down everything inside both sides. But on the cover, I feel it's a little more important that there be some water resistance because Yes Glue will reactivate if it gets wet. And we don't want that on a cover. So I did, when I got it all finished, I put it under some weight so it would dry really, really flat. And then I did the Mod Podge on it. So it was completely dry. And then I did the Mod Podge matte medium. Sometimes I use another, like an acrylic matte medium from something like Liquitex. Mod Podge is also an acrylic medium. It's just a little different formula. So yes, that's what I did. I had a lot of fun with this, and then I wanted to do something different on the inside. So this is papers I used inside the signatures. So we have both elements running here. We have the various masterboard pieces, use these pages, and these are in the signatures. So that was fun. And then I decided to use muslin to reinforce the spine. Some countries it's called calico, so it's that kind of a cotton fabric. I also happened to have, this was really fun, I had brads in the 4 colors that matched the signatures. Oh, well, that worked really well. And to cover up the brad tines on the inside, I just cut another little piece of muslin. And for this, I used the craft glue, this Barely Art craft glue, which I also used inside for various more firm kinds of gluing. So I use a lot of different kinds of glues depending on the situation. So there is the cover. And let's get to the story, because here's the writing board. I decided I made this real sturdy cardboard on the inside. What I realized as I was assembling the signatures is that I thought, oh, that'd be fun. I'll put some map pages in. Well, the map pages I used, I found this 1972, 53 years ago, as of now, Atlas of Los Angeles County. And as I make this video, much of Los Angeles County is on fire. We lost everything in the Paradise Camp fire in 2018. So I have loads of compassion for these people. And here I am. This is the map I have. So I was using these pages. And here it is for Los Angeles County. Now, why that is so significant is all the pages that I used in all of those ephemera pieces, Masterboards, and this cover are from an angel book. They're about prayers and compassion and caring, and manifesting better things in your life. And it's going to take years. I mean, it took some time for us to recover. And fortunately, we were able to. And we're doing fine now. But these people in Los Angeles have a long haul ahead of them as well. And boy, don't I know it. So this journal has become something of a prayer book for the people of Los Angeles County. So I went ahead and I made this collage on the writing board. And, and this is the where to find that street page number sort of thing. So yeah, I was thinking about this while I was assembling signatures and making this cover. I'm saying prayers for the people of Los Angeles County. So this journal is about writing, and it carries an energy with it. And I want to put that in here. I really, really firmly believe how important words are. Words have power. They have energy. The words we speak, the words we think, the words we write. So having an angel book about prayers and manifestation and compassion and all of those good things, and in conjunction with old maps of Los Angeles County. And all of these, streets a lot of them didn't change a whole lot in the last 50 years. Los Angeles got bigger. But yeah, words have power. And so these prayerful words in conjunction with map pages, I think it's a really powerful thing. And it's something for us all to think about, is our words and what we think. And that's why I really have become kind of a champion for saying nice things to yourself. Don't downgrade any of your art, your creative projects, because I think it's really important. We need to be nice to ourselves as well. So that is the story that this journal became. It's not just 4 seasons, it's also prayers for a lot of people. So let's get on with assembling the book, shall we? Are you ready for a flip through? I just went ahead and I spent most of Saturday and Sunday working on this. So there was just a lot to do. There was a lot of little details and everything. So because the signatures are in 4 different colors, I used 4 different color embroidery floss. It got really full and very springy. So yeah, see, nice and springy, as in boing. Yes, it wants to open by itself. So let's see. You can see there's some little extra goodies in here. I just went ahead and did it all because it just took a lot of time, right? So I did not do a whole lot of addition to the Masterboard images. You'll see little bits and pieces I'll show you, but it didn't need a lot. Tags, I wanted to give them toppers, and I wanted to make sure I inked all the edges. But other than that, I really didn't want to do a whole lot. I've used muslin on a lot, or calico as you where you are. This is stapled on, rubber stamped, and I just put a little piece of ribbon to hide the staples. I wasn't really excited about stapling, so I didn't do a whole lot of that. I did do a whole lot of rubber stamping. It was a fun extra thing to do. We have fold out, and this was from a notepad. I'm not sure I mentioned that before, but I just folded it over to create these pockets and just added some rubber stamps to that. And throughout this, I was using rubber stamps consistent with the theme of what what season it was. So that was my idea with the 4 seasons. So I don't need to keep showing you the backs because they're all blank. And this was the fun little thing that I did. I recently got some beading needles so I could use some of these tiny, tiny beads that have really small holes. And I just used sewing thread, some good sturdy stuff, and strung the beads, tied it onto the paper clip, and I used some of the Barely Craft glue to hold the strings, the threads together. And so you wouldn't have all those little things sticking out. And I just thought that would be fun, and I just happened with that particular group of beads. There was a green, a red, kind of a pinky orange for autumn, and the blue for winter. So trying to keep with theme. I love themes. That's just a thing with me. I just love themes. And even with the map pages for spring, I found pages that had a lot of green on them and so on. So I was really thinking about my theme and how I was going to put this together in keeping with the spring, etc. Um, I I haven't bought any labels, but I have bought some stamps recently so I can make labels. So that's something I want to do. This is the first time I've done it. So these are 2 different rubber stamps. And that's another rubber stamp. And there's another piece of muslin. And the other thing that I'm doing more of is these little clusters. I think they're kind of cool and they add just a little extra collage touch to, a page. I think they're kind of fun. So I'll probably be doing more of that. And there was this small bit left, so I just tied it onto a bigger one, right? Another one of my new stamps. That's a postage stamp. This is a flip up. And just took a piece of map. You can do a lot with maps, I'm finding. So this one is just another. Oh, yes. And I've been saving rubber stamps, not rubber stamps, postage stamps from any envelopes that I receive. And some of them are very seasonal in their appearance. So I incorporated postage stamps throughout the embellishment of this particular journal. So I left a lot of writing space. I figured journals are about writing, and there's another salvage stamp. You'll love some of the amounts on here. There's some that are 13 cents. This one's 15 cents. It's another piece of muslin just tied on with a piece of embroidery floss. Very simple, but I like it. And here we go with another green map page, another little cluster. This is a rubber stamp. This is a rubber stamp. And I'm used this because again, this is the LA and everything, and our communities can be quite fragile. We want to think about protecting our communities and thinking about their fragility, when tragedy strikes. I had a few of these pages from last year's journal that were completely clean, never written on. So I looked for things that might be appropriate again for the season. So I stamped the hinge. This particular one has the spring equinox, which is perfect for the spring journal. So I'll put that in there. And that's it. Oh, I made a boo-boo. I have to fess up. I did make a boo-boo. When I was rubber stamping these corners, I just wasn't paying attention on this one and poked a hole in this I used the writing board to do the rubber stamping because I didn't do it before I put the signatures, sewed them in. So I did use some masking tape. So I do have a boo-boo in this journal. I do apologize. Boo-boos happen, right? Go into summer. Another salvage stamp. Beautiful pink. Goes great with this. I tried to use a lot of variety of papers, as much variety as possible. This is a notepad that I am utilizing, and I used colored pencil on all of these. There's 4 different drawings, and they were just brown ink. So I used some colored pencil, and I looked up this trout to see what colors it was. So it was kind of a little fun extra thing to do. Some summer flower stamps, another of the little beads. And I was thinking 4th of July in the summer, the salvage stamp, and this was the inside of the envelope. It was a security envelope. So I really enjoy the patterns inside security envelopes. And as far as Route 66, it ends in the LA Basin, and this is a rubber stamp. I've only been on portions of Route 66. Wouldn't it be fun to do the whole thing sometime? I don't know if that'll ever happen, but just a little bit of ribbon. It would be fun to go on some of those old sections, you know? And this is kind of the theme stamp throughout. It's a really big, wonderful rubber stamp that I have. So I used it with different colors, and this is separate rubber stamps. Another writing board. This is an envelope that's just paper clipped in, another salvage stamp. And I just have a colorful piece of paper in there. Just another piece of that journal. This one's just numbered. A little mini cluster here, just a salvage stamp and a piece of map. Another cluster, another salvage stamp, another piece of muslin. These are rubber stamps. And again, you can see, this was a pinky orange. It was the closest I could get to pink, but I have these tea dyed and coffee dyed pages, so it goes really well color-wise. Just a simple belly band, a little bit of muslin. And I had this little piece left. I went, well, how about a diagonal belly band, right? And we're done with summer into fall. There was a set of 4 of these quilt. These are actual postage stamps, 13 cents. Don't you love it? Oh, I wish. Salvage stamps, cut right from the envelope, a little bit of ribbon, a little bit of map. I think it looks cool. It's just a little something extra on this writing card. But again, I did the stamping between the book pages and that rubber stamp and adding some napkin. This is napkin also. So it just a little something extra. I used one of those distressing rubber stamps for the muslin, just glued it on. Another little bead thing, salvage stamp. Just took it off the envelope. I left a bit of the envelope. So look for that. That's one way you can do it. Muslin ribbon. And this is a cancellation rubber stamp. And this is a piece of one of those envelopes again. I think it's the same one. Yep. It was from the same envelope, and all I did was stamp the cancellation, just tear it out and ink it and add it to that tag. This envelope, another one of those stamps, and there's a little piece of that autumn design writing paper and another tag. And all of these pieces are from those masterboards that I did. And all the paper is paper that I dyed. So another little cluster. This little piece here is when you get new rubber stamps, there's always these little side extra side pieces. So why not just ink it a little bit and add it? And this salvage rubber stamp looked more like autumn. As I said, there was like this set of stamps that came out that had these buildings, farm buildings and stuff with the different seasons. Well, that's cool. Really filled this pocket up. Added some things to this one. This one was a little naked, so added some things to it. Another one of those stamps. And I really filled this pocket up. Oh, just another ribbon application. 3 pieces of ribbon, cut the same length, and just glued on. Simple. It's autumn, so I found an October page to go in the autumn signature. Okay, out of autumn and into winter, and there's another one of those seasonal stamps that I salvaged with a rubber stamp. And the thing with this is that as I'm going through this page by page, item by item, I wanted to keep changing it up a little bit or doing something a little different. I didn't want to be boring, neither to myself or whoever winds up using this journal. I wanted everything to have just little tweaks, little differences. Another piece of muslin, I glued it on, and then I sewed a piece of the embroidery floss all the way through. I used my bookbinding awl to poke the holes and then just sewed that on. So it's just it just adds a little extra something. It keeps it more interesting. And all of these are dyed papers that I dyed. These are Easter egg dyed. So, and then I had some of these lined tablets with different colors, so I didn't have to do much of anything to those. These are my rubber stamps. I think there's still a few left in my Etsy shop. Those are just about sold out. And there's my theme stamp. Another little beaded paper clip. This was kind of a neat technique that I stumbled on that I just did. This is a rubber stamp. I stamped it onto a brown ink pad and then very lightly stamped it again on a blue ink pad, and I got this really cool mottled effect. I like it. It's just a piece of ribbon. That came out really neat. I'll have to try that again. Another one of those cancellation stamps on glued on muslin. Oh, and you'll notice there's a few birds floating around. And that is because, have I come to it yet? I think I came to it. Yes, no, yes. I just skipped by it there. This particular notepad picture had these birds on it. And since it's a mountain bluebird, I color penciled it blue. And then I had a few bird rubber stamps. So I went, hey, snowflakes, birds. There are winter birds. We have winter birds come in. So snowflakes and birds. One of those rubber stamps that looks like a coffee stain. Yes, we have some birds that come into the bird feeder that get some seed out for them. And since December is, when the end of December, people are starting to think about the next year and New Year's resolutions and things like that. And I hadn't used this page with all the months on it. So I thought, well, somebody could start working with their New Year's resolutions. Salvage stamp. And the final flip out. And that is for the winter signature. And for this belly band, I used one of these pages. I used the whole thing. I folded it in half and half again, glued it together, glued it onto the page, did a little distressing. And it's very tight, so it's holding this writing board securely in place. All right. So this is done. We are done with the flip through. And this is going into my Etsy shop. It is a one of a kind. I made those Masterboards over a little bit of time, a couple of months or so, and before I decided how I was going to use them. And so this is a one of a kind. I won't be duplicating this. But that's kind of who I am. I like to, when I'm drawing and painting, I'm not too likely to do the same thing over and over and over again. Although I have done more than one of a similar type with these journals, but they are all going to be a little different. But I can't see myself doing this one again, at least not right now. I might do a Four Seasons one again in the future, but it won't look like this. I like it. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed watching and that you got a few ideas from it. So the links to the Etsy shop and Anything else that I mentioned will be down below in the description box. And golly, your thoughts would be welcome. A comment here and there. It's like, will you use something that you saw that I did in this journal? Will you do a collage cover, masterboard kind of cover? Um, anyway, I had fun. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me in my next video. So, bye for now.